Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to Busting Rainbow Six Siege. Today we are myth-busting the brand new mid-season balancing, with the most significant changes being for WAMAI and Kapkan. But we'll also be testing a range of other stuff, so we'll have myths in here and we'll just have general tests as well. There's also some recoil changes in this patch, but we'll test that in a separate video with controller and mouse and keyboard. And then finally, all the tests here are going to be from the test server, so the usual disclaimer that things can get tweaked before they go live. I'll attempt to keep you up to date on any changes as it progresses, but let's get into the testing. So the first myth is to do with the new Kapkan change, where you can actually put multiple traps on the same door or window. And this myth is all about 2 traps being the sweet spot for this setup. So let's run Ash to begin with, a 3 speed with 100 health, and if she actually goes through 2 traps, she will die instantly, which is actually quite impressive. And I'm going to kind of change my feeling on this, because my initial reaction was like maybe I would double up on 1 door and the rest I would spread out. Now I'm thinking I might actually do it on 2 doors and then have the other trap to actually spread out somewhere else, because insta-killing someone is very good. But anyway, let's move on to the 2 speeds who have 110 health, and 2 traps will actually injure them. So again, that's pretty damn good. Not an insta-kill, but being able to totally injure a player is very powerful, so that again is really good. And Kapkan won't get an injury notification here, however, he will of course know that it's detonated, and if he knows that he has 2 set up for doubles, then it's going to be very easy for him to go and check that. So I'd say this is very powerful. And then moving on to 1 speeds who have 125 health, they will survive 2 traps with 5 health. So they may not get injured, but that is significantly reducing their combat capability. So again, I think doubling up is awesome. 3 I think is a little bit overkill, but 2 just seems perfect. So I'm going to say it's confirmed 2 is the sweet spot. However, let's actually take a look at 3 of them detonating to a 3 armor operator. And as you would expect, it is instant death. So, you know, it's satisfying, that's for damn sure. It's kind of like the old days where one of these would have actually insta-killed, but of course nowadays you need 2 or 3 depending on the operator. Now of course Kapkan traps do actually have a damage drop off, and I was testing on double doors there, so I did go and actually test on single doors to see if there was any difference and be, you know, close or far away from the explosion. So as you can see here, being point blank with the explosion resulted in the same damage as normal, and then switching over if we're far away from the Kapkan traps on the double door, trying to be as far away as possible, again exactly the same damage. There is a damage drop off with these mines, but it's unlikely you're going to be able to actually get it to initiate unless you're the person who's not detonated and you're just further away from the explosion. 5 traps, 1 mountain. So if you put all the Kapkan traps on 1 door and the mountain walked in with an extended shield, would it actually kill him? So I went and tested this, and I'm not going to actually fast forward through this. I'm going to let you actually watch the satisfying gameplay of me just stacking them on top of each other. And if you do want to actually take them off, you got to take them off 1 at a time as well. And he actually survives with 25 health. So that is busted. They don't kill him instantly, which, you know, for a mountain, I guess that's good news. But of course, if you're playing Monty, certainly check the doors. Considering you're not moving at it at a very fast pace, you can probably expend the time to actually make sure there's not 5 of them on the door. And of course, you might be observing here that if I actually put the Kapkans on both sides, we would have killed them, and that is definitely true. WAMAI now has 6 magnets, and I thought immediately, how long does it take to get all of those magnets out? And I went and tested it. It is 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So a round of Rainbow Six Siege is 3 minutes. However, there is a preparation phase on top of that that's 45 seconds. So that does not leave you with much time to get that final magnet out, and especially you might have died before you can actually get even the 5th one out. But talking about the 5th one, he did have 5 magnets back in the day, so going up to 6 now is certainly very nice. And I could see them reducing the cooldown eventually if that's something they need to do. Like, this might be enough of a change that actually works out perfectly. But right now it feels, of course, very slow to get that 6th one out, but it might well win the actual match. So yeah, it might actually be a really good thing that that shows up in your inventory at the very end of the game. Now, it's not all good news for WAMAI. His magnet range has been reduced, but is it bad? And the answer is, just looking at this, no, the range is amazing still, and I would say it doesn't really hinder this gadget at all. If anything, you can be a bit more precise with its placement, because you don't have to worry about catching something at that extreme range, and you can have it very much in the place you want it to actually catch something. So to me, this is pretty damn good. And if we actually do look at a comparison between the old and the new, I think you can see that definitely the old one has a massive range, but the new one is still easily big enough for you to do just about anything you want with that range. So I would say that it's busted. This is actually not a major nerf to the actual magnet, and if anything, I think it actually helps. Now let's take a look at Castle. So Castle, I think, is being nerfed, and we're going to have a look at my tests here, and let me know what you think if you agree with my choice at the end of this myth. So Castle, first of all, is getting an additional barricade, which is lovely. That's a nice change, and certainly means you can do just a little bit more with it, so that's great. But if the enemy bring a Sledge, Zofia, Ash, Kali, they can get through these castle barricades so quickly that it doesn't really matter that you have one extra, I think anyway, because most likely what you're going to have is the most 2 between you and the enemy. And of course, just about any operator can get through that very fast. But they've also nerfed it by making it actually take less time to melee, and here is a direct comparison to show you how much quicker it is to now just normal melee your way through a castle barricade. And I'm usually very happy to walk up and actually melee a castle barricade at the current level. Making it quicker just means this is probably going to be my solution pretty much all the time. Not to mention you can also pop it with the Gun 6, which I run a lot on like Yana and things like that. So yeah, the castle barricade, it's nice to have an extra one, but I don't think this is, of course, what we need for Castle. So I'm going to say right now, this is busted. I don't think this is an improvement. I think it is a nerf to Castle. So now operators spawn with 2 secondary hard breaches, and this is amazing. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this kind of buff for the secondary gadget. I assume this means that it's not having the impact they expected it to have, and certainly the player base also thought it was going to be super kind of changing of the meta, and it really actually hasn't. So first test here is to actually see if we can detonate both of these pretty much at the same time from one operator, and unfortunately that is busted. As you can see, it just doesn't work. It ends up destroying the other charge, but that's from a standing position. If you're actually repelling, then you can set up 2 of them and detonate them, but you have to get the spacing to be perfect for it to work. Otherwise you will destroy the other charge as it detonates first, of course. But that's confirmed for the repelling version. Now let's end this with a funny one, and it is one of the changes to Clash, because she's now getting the Super Shorty as an option, as a primary weapon. So of course she has the shield, and then she gets to pick one other weapon, which you know, it kind of technically is her secondary, but I just don't understand anybody picking this. Obviously it's going to have huge meme value, but this over the SMG, I don't see it. Now I definitely do see the actual usefulness, because your Clash, you're not doing anything in prep phase apart from maybe some reinforcing. Now you can actually set up rotations and do whatever the hell you want and actually be more useful to your team. But then when it comes to fighting, you should be less effective. Like that Super Shorty only has 3 rounds. I would prefer to give it the little shotgun that like Mira has. It's slightly better, but I can see them, you know, trying this out and see how it works. It might, you never know, it might actually be an awesome choice, and we might see some amazing plays with it. And yeah, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with this. And I'm expecting nothing, but the problem with assuming stuff like that is sometimes you are wrong, and maybe this will end up being an absolute gem on Clash. So that's it for today's Mythbusters. We're going to be back again with like recoil changes in the future, which will not be a Mythbuster episode, just be looking at recoil changes and a few other stuff too. But anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.